Going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video. Good to be back. Where this week, between working overtime at the day job, between some family in town visiting, had a couple days where we didn't have videos. Hope to not have that happen again leading up into the season. Going to try to continue to have daily content here on the channel, but it's good to be back. Good to be, having content again, recording videos, talking with you guys. Of course, let me know how you're doing. How was your week? You let me know down in the comments section. But what we're talking about here is going to be some comments from Chris Sims, somebody that I used to think he said a lot of outlandish stuff over the past couple of years. I thought he started to get more realistic. I thought he said a lot of things that I agreed with over the last couple of years. But there was one that I just can't agree with. He's putting out his list this season of the top 40 quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's 40, 4-0. So you're talking about all the starters and then some more. And where he has Anthony Richardson listed on this list is absolutely ridiculous. Put him at number 32. Okay, he revealed 40 up to 31. Anthony Richardson is sitting at number 32. How is that even possible? Okay, I understand he only played 4 games last season, but just listening to some of the things he was saying was like, okay, you didn't watch the tape. Actually, you haven't listened to what Shane Steichen said. So we're gonna listen to a couple of things he said. We're obviously not gonna watch it. This is NBC. I'm not messing with NBC. We just got a couple of quick tidbits here of what Chris Sims was saying, and then want to react to the conversation.
And there's value in that. And that's where, hey, is he as good as quarterback as some of the other guys we've talked about already? No. But he does a few things on the football field that he gets the defense to change way more than any of these other guys. Because you're going, wait, if they run quarterback power or the read option, he's going to run for 70 yards and a touchdown.
Okay, so that right there, you're talking about a guy that defenses have to change the way they play because of him. That immediately sends him above other guys, right? When you look at Chris Sims' rankings, number 31, none other than Ryan Tannehill, somebody we're familiar with as Colts fans. A lot of people know him, right? His stint with the Dolphins, then the Titans. How on earth are you putting Ryan Tannehill above Anthony Richardson just because there's more to go off of? You've seen Ryan Tannehill. What's the last you saw of Ryan Tannehill? Was it better than what you last saw of Anthony Richardson? No, it wasn't. So I don't understand, right? Like Will Levis replaced Ryan Tannehill. I don't understand how he comes up with this ranking. I don't understand what he's talking about, how some of the guys they talked about are better than Anthony Richardson. You look at some of the guys that they talked about up to this point, and we're looking at Jarrett Stidham, Gardner Minshew, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold. That is 40 up to 33. And then you have Anthony Richardson. Which of those guys is better than Anthony Richardson the last that we saw him, right? Is he talking about Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew went 9-8 with the Colts, right? Anthony Richardson had a little bit of a part of that in the early season. But you have Gardner Minshew. Kenny Pickett is he talking about? Kenny Pickett, who's now a backup, right? He's not even starting in the NFL. Joe Flacco, who's Anthony Richardson's backup, right? What are we talking about here? I don't see what Chris Sims is saying there. It's contradictory to what the facts are, right? Yeah, am I a Colts fan? Could there be bias? Sure, I'll give you that. But the facts are the facts. Facts are that Anthony Richardson, what we saw of Anthony Richardson as an NFL quarterback in his first 4 games as a rookie exceeds what we see from the other guys on this list. The only one that's in that conversation right now, or the only 2, I'll give you 2. Joe Flacco, Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew was here last year. Joe Flacco here this year. So, hey, from my understanding of this, Colts doing pretty good. Chris Sims it has a pretty harsh criticism of Anthony Richardson, though. So now we're going to listen to another clip of the criticism, and then we'll continue to react.
We might have to worry about the big play, but I don't think we have to worry about him going 7 for 7 for 82 yards on a drive yet, right?
So that right there, yeah, there is some validity to that, and that's with any rookie, right? Like what CJ Stroud did last year, you even saw it took CJ Stroud a few games to really get into. Now in the second half against the Colts, when the Colts were playing a soft cover 2 in that week 2 matchup, that's when CJ Stroud was really able to find a rhythm. So it's kind of our fault that he was able to do that. But nonetheless, you look at it, and most rookies it takes a little while to get to the point where you're able to surgically dice up NFL defenses, right? College and NFL are two totally different animals. So, yeah, he's going to have to figure out how to go about dicing up a defense, but he has Shane Steichen as his head coach, right? One of the most all ball kind of guys of all time. Shane Steichen, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, has him. He has Jim Bob Cooter, who over the years has proven himself to be a really good offensive coach in the NFL. So, with what Anthony Richardson has around him, I feel really good with how he's going to be able to develop into a guy that's dicing him up. So, is that a fair criticism? Sure, that's a fact. But it's also a fact that Anthony Richardson, as he continues to work in the NFL, will get better at that. So, is that something? Sure, you can bring that up now, but he like is so convicted into his point here that he's using that as something to demean him rather than saying this is something he can work on, which is what I didn't like about what he had to say there. Okay, and then there's this last thing that he was talking about. There's plenty in this video the from Chris Sims that you could pick apart, but these are the three things that I thought we need to talk about. We're going to listen to the last thing here, and then we'll continue talking.
I don't think he knows where to get the ball out when in trouble. Or, oh, they're blitzing me. I'm supposed to go here. Or, like, there's stuff like that that's still new to him. Go ahead.
All right, so that's just wrong. Like when I talk about he's not watching the tape, when I talk about he's not listening to Coach Steichen, like that's completely false. When you look at what Anthony Richardson was able to do last year, he was standing in the pocket and he was making throws that he needed to make. Right? We've talked plenty about the short to intermediate throws and his inaccuracies there, but going down the field, he's really good. So, Anthony Richardson, when it comes to the decision making, that's the part that surprised everybody last year. Everybody, including myself, thought that going into last season, the decision making was going to make for a lot of turnovers from Anthony Richardson. So, what we really need to see was can he get better and develop into a guy that's able to progress through his reads quickly and make the correct decision when he has to have a hot read, and he did that. Like Shane Steichen has been specific in different examples of different plays where Anthony Richardson had to get the ball out, like at the league meetings a few months ago, and Shane Steichen was asked about Anthony Richardson, and he talked about a play where the hot read was Josh Downs, and he's not supposed to be open, or he got left alone. However the situation was, he got left alone. He got the ball out quickly to Josh Downs. Making the correct decisions was the most surprising part of Anthony Richardson at the beginning of last season. So this is just wrong. When we talk about facts, this is not a fact. The fact is that Anthony Richardson came into the NFL ready for that part of it, ready to make the right decisions. And again, Jim Bob Cooter, Shane Steichen probably have a huge hand in that. Anthony Richardson is working hard. We knew coming in he was going to work to try to be the greatest that he can be. He's still on that trajectory, just has to be able to stay on the field. That's really all you're talking about with Anthony Richardson. So when you talk about ranking him 32nd, like I could see where you're ranking him, maybe in the bottom third of the NFL, which would make sense, right? He missed all of last year with an injury. You want to see more, right? And you want to see it be consistent. I get that. But when you talk about just the guy directly above him, Ryan Tannehill, somebody that's had some of the most inconsistencies in an NFL career for somebody that started as much as Ryan Tannehill. So, he should be above Ryan Tannehill. I'm sure there are going to be more guys on this list that Anthony Richardson should be ahead of. And who knows, maybe we'll continue to update that as the list continues to come out. But I just thought this was ridiculous. I know you guys will too. Of course, let me know your opinion down in the comments section. Again, going to continue to have videos, man. I miss talking to you guys. I miss talking about Colts football. There's plenty to talk about, plenty of players on the roster to talk about in their different situations. So stay tuned throughout this offseason. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Want your opinion on all the different conversations that we're yet to have. And then, of course, I appreciate you joining me for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.